This is Automated Thought.
Hey everyone, this is CHRONORIN from DeviantArt. That's not my real name, of course. That's just a code name that I use. Anyway, I'm on vacation all this week because my very good friend, probably my best friend in the world,
Thanks.
he's visiting from up north in the big city. See, we met in college, right? And after college, he went back home to Northern Virginia near DC, which is like the big impressive city. And I stayed down here in like Tennessee in kind of the small redneck town. But every year or so, we get back together and hang out and do nerd shit. And
Absolutely.
Oh, hey, you should introduce yourself. What is your name?
On the internet, I go by MIDRASPORE.
That is correct. His code name is MIDRASPORE, so that is what you shall address him as. Anyway, since we've been getting into making videos, we thought, why not just talk normally instead of doing some sort of pre-scripted thing? Just sort of talk about the things that we normally talk about.
Yeah, it's just a free-form conversation, and you can just be a fly on the wall and listen in. Maybe we'll say some interesting shit. Maybe it'll be rambling and incoherent. We'll find out.
Yes, we shall. Oh, let's see. Oh, man, earlier we were talking about all this stuff. We were saying this would be great for the podcast, and now I can't remember any of it.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck were we talking about?
Well, we did get on a fairly amusing rant about the Transformers movies. I don't know if we want to do that because it seems like everybody on the internet is ranting about how fucking horrible those movies are and how they're just getting progressively worse.
Yeah, and when MIDRASPORE came to visit in 2014, we subjected ourselves to going to see Transformers Age of Extinction in theaters, despite knowing that it would be a horrible piece of crap.
I'm explicitly going because we knew it was going to be terrible, and like an endurance test. Just let's see if we can do this. Let's subject ourselves to this torture, see what happens, see how it affects our minds. And then we actually dragged along a third person, a mutual friend. They didn't like the movie either, shockingly.
Nobody liked that movie. And
somebody must have liked it, though. How much fucking money did that thing make? It was
a bunch, but it was all Chinese money, which doesn't count.
All right. No, it still did decently domestically, right?
Yeah. But the funny thing is, when he came down this year, by a remarkable coincidence, Transformers 5 is in the theater. And for a minute there, we were both saying, hey, let's go see Transformers 5. And then we just kind of went, no.
No, it's once like the reality of going to see this movie sinks in, you're like, you start to really think about what it would be like to sit there for, 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
And just get punished by Michael Bay. I'm like, no. Fuck that. We're not going to do that. No, it was fun. It was as a good joke a couple years ago when we went and saw the Age of Extinction, but God, no.
The exact same logic is in play in the same way that we decided not to drink so much whiskey this time, because all we expect is pain.
Yes.
Like, now we know better. We're not going to go see Transformers, and we're not going to take shot after shot of whiskey until we wake up the next day just in absolute agony.
Although it was pretty cool that night. I remember you showed me for the first time. I'd never seen any of those Simpsons wave videos, and that whole concept. I mean, it was completely new to me. I was like really appreciating that aesthetic in that, inebriated state. But yes, the next morning, not worth it.
Worst hangover I've ever had.
I don't know if it was the worst one I ever had, but it definitely ranked up there pretty high. It was brutal.
It was bad. So this year we're taking things a lot slower because every year we get closer and closer to middle age, which kind of sucks, but It
Mhm.
comes with some new responsibilities.
Yeah, your body just can't recover. It can't withstand the punishment like it used to. It's just one of those truths about getting older.
Because, dude, back in college, we used to get fucked up.
Oh yeah.
Remember when Gooch peed on the computer and the 10,000 other crazy drunken
Yeah,
stories we
okay,
have?
so yeah, dude, I should tell this story.
Yeah.
This is just, I'll never forget this as long as I live, because it was, I'd never seen anything so ridiculous. Uh, uh, I go over to CHRONORIN's dorm, and like he's rooming with this dude Gooch, and actually Gooch roomed with me for a short time before he roomed with CHRONORIN, and so I was already friends with Gooch, and then they became friends because they were rooming together, and then I became friends with CHRONORIN because I knew Gooch, etc. So I went over to their dorm room this one evening, and CHRONORIN's there. I think you were playing Final Fantasy VII.
Oh,
at
man,
that
I
point.
loved that game.
Yeah, so you're on the PlayStation, Final Fantasy VII, and Gooch was, at that time, he was all about this fraternity that he was involved with. I don't remember which frat it was. I don't give a shit, but
Oh,
he
God.
was
the
really
Teaks.
trying to impress this fraternity.
The Teaks, whatever that is short for.
Yeah, I don't know shit about fraternities.
TKE.
And he goes out, right? And we're just chilling there. You're playing Final Fantasy VII. I'm watching it. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is cool. I hadn't played Final Fantasy since 3 on SNES. So whatever that is in the, you know, the proper numbering of the series.
They call it 6 now.
Okay, whatever. Anyways, he's playing Final Fantasy VII. I'm just hanging out. We're both completely sober, not drinking or anything. And in through the door comes Gooch, and dude is like beyond fucking, he's like into psychopath mode.
Yeah, back in those days, Gooch would drink so much like straight liquor that there was literally a chance he could have died on any one of these nights.
Oh, yes. He, like, dude, he could have drowned in his own vomit easily. Thank God that didn't happen. But, you know, so he walks through the door, and I believe there was I remember there was some period of time where he had a knife and he was like stabbing the bed really violently with the knife.
I forgot about that.
I was kind of scared about all this knife action. So as soon as he passed out, I just hid the knife. I'm like, I don't want that knife anywhere near this drunken man. Like, that's dangerous. Fuck this knife bullshit.
And Gooch, he would make these like really weird specific Gooch noises when stabbing. He'd be like,
yeah. Yeah, there were sounds that accompanied this ferocious stabbing of the bed.
But then he did pass out.
Yeah, so he completely passed out. And I'm like, all right, the Gooch problem is resolved. He's unconscious, and we're just going to hang out and do this Final Fantasy. And at one point, he stands up from his bed. The dorm room was really small. There's just 2 beds in there, and like the distance between the 2 beds, like you could easily touch both beds at the same time, right? I mean, that's about how close it was. These were cramped quarters.
Yeah, it was pretty small.
And he stands up, and I'm still really not paying any attention to what he's doing. And then in my peripheral vision, I see a stream like impacting his computer, but impacting very specifically the bass port on the computer speaker. So, you know, like those little speakers that come with a lot of desktop computers will have that port, and that's like the bass port, you know, so the air can move through there and whatever. I see this clear liquid stream entering the bass port on this computer speaker. And the first thing my mind thought was happening was that for some reason Gooch had a bottle of water, one of those squeeze bottles, like with the cap. So, you know, you squeeze it and you squirt like the stream in. And I'm like, why? My first thought, why is Gooch squeezing water into his computer. And that thought only lasted for, like a fraction of a second before I realized, oh, no, he's urinating. He is urinating. And the man just stood there and emptied his bladder all over and into his computer. And then he did a 180 and just face planted back on his bed and was unconscious again. And, oh, CHRONORIN.
That's me.
Shit. They know your real name.
You've revealed my identity.
Well, we'll just have to edit this out. I mean, we can't let anybody know.
Yeah, we'll fix it.
So Gooch, finishes urinating, does this 180, and he just collapses, face plants on his bed. And CHRONORIN's looking at the computer table and the computer, and there's like a waterfall cascading off of this desk surface. There was a lot of liquid. It's just pouring off of the desk onto the floor. He completely drenched his own personal computer with his own urine. And I was laughing my ass off at that point, because this was definitely one of the most amusing things I had ever seen. CHRONORIN was not laughing at all. He was fucking pissed because
it was my room.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that back in those days, a desktop computer was like a freaking car. Like, it might cost like $3,000 or $4,000, and you get one only. Like, most people back then were on their first desktop computer.
Yeah, this was back when, we weren't even really on the internet much at that time.
97.
Yeah. So 1997, whatever the internet was in 97, I really didn't get on the internet until, 99 or something? I'm probably a little late to that party. Of course, I knew of the existence of the internet, and I used it some for, on a 56K baud modem to play Doom and shit with my friends. So, yeah, that gives you a little idea of our age. So CHRONORIN is just aghast at this scene, the urine cascading over this desk and off this computer, and I'm laughing. I must have laughed just for a solid 10 minutes. Then so while I'm just standing there laughing, he's going about the sad task of sopping up all this urine with paper towels and shit.
Yeah, it was my room. Like, I couldn't leave. MIDRASPORE could leave and go back to his room, but I have to be in here. And there was no other choice. I didn't even have a computer at that point, and like I said, computers were big deals, and I just couldn't stand to have Gooch wake up the next day and just say, yeah, dude, you ruined your computer by pissing on it. Tough luck.
I do remember there was some deliberation about whether to just leave it and have him deal with it. Like, he made the mess, he'll deal with it tomorrow. And I think I convinced you, like, no, man, you gotta clean it up now while it's wet. If it dries, it's going to be this sticky, awful, stinky mess, and it'll be much harder to clean up at that point. So I think you just got to bite the bullet and clean this piss now.
Yeah.
So he does this, and you were pretty thorough in the cleaning process, and just, I'm sure a lot of towels were used, and it looked like, okay, it's all the wet spots are gone, like the piss is cleaned up. And then the last thing was picking up that speaker, because like I said earlier, it was so bizarre. He was intentionally aiming his urine stream into that base port on the speaker. Like, that's the only way to explain it. For whatever reason, his brain thought this is where the pee should go.
Aim at the
into
hole.
The hole. Yeah, piss into the hole. He somehow, in his drunken, fucked up mind, it was a urinal or something, and he pissed into it. So CHRONORIN lifts up that speaker and tilts it over 90 degrees, and just a whole flood of piss pours out of the speaker, and like,
sploosh.
It's like, God damn it. more. Yeah. And then, to wrap up the story, like, I think the most amazing thing is that computer and those speakers worked totally fine after that
They continued
piss
to function.
incident. You generally would think if you drenched your computer in piss, it would have some problems afterwards, but for whatever reason, I guess it just didn't hit the critical components and miraculously escaped being destroyed.
And as for Gooch, it was only a couple of weeks later where, to make this story very short, he vomited all over the public restroom, spraying like rotten chicken and rice, filthy whiskey vomit everywhere, and left it for the janitor. But let's see. In the end, Gooch moved back to his hometown and married his high school sweetheart and had some kids. So happy ending for Gooch.
Yeah. I wonder what he's doing these days, but I wish him the absolute best. He was a really good friend, and
Gooch.
He wasn't always drunk, and the fraternity thing didn't last that long. And
Yeah, because after that, he discovered weed.
He's like, oh, yeah, fuck this. I mean, he still drank a little bit, but it wasn't that like menacing psychopath character was pretty much gone once he discovered weed.
He grew his hair out and started smoking a lot of weed, and it was like, then he went into the hippie phase, and that was when we were listening to a lot of like Doors and Led Zeppelin and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just, it became the 60s for just a couple years.
But dude, that dorm room that you guys lived in, or dorm building. So one thing to know is that, wasn't it like the whole floor was occupied by the football team except for these two guys?
Yeah, pretty much the whole dorm was half of it was the football team, and the other half was us unlucky bastards who had to live with the football team because college athletes are fucking assholes. And there were these big muscular dudes mostly. They would play like really loud rap music like at all hours, and they would just pee everywhere, just vomit in the hallway, just spray any fluid anywhere else, anywhere
They'd
could.
leave their trash out in the hallway, like half-eaten pizzas would be smashed and smeared up against the wall and in the stairwells and everything. At the bathroom there was almost always this little pool of urine in front of the urinals. And if you needed to go to the stalls, you had to walk past the urinals. And like if you didn't want to walk through a big ass puddle of piss, you had to get like a running start and leap over a large pond of urine.
Yeah, and if one of them pissed on the floor, and if it was like a weekend or a holiday, and the janitor wasn't in for a few days, that's when I learned that like urine would turn brown and just get browner, and the smell would increase.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, those were the good old days.
Those were some good days. But I was glad when we all got out of the dorms.
Yeah, the next year we got an apartment and things got way cooler.
Yes indeed.
Oh, man. Anywho, I think we're going to wrap this up for now. Tomorrow, the vacation will continue, and we may go see a movie, possibly Wonder Woman. I want to
see it.
I've seen it, but my friend hasn't, and I would gladly see it again because the only other options are Transformers 5.
Yeah, obviously, fuck that.
Pirates of the Caribbean 5.
Double fuck that. I didn't even like the first one. Like, a lot of people say, oh, yeah, the first one was good and fun. Like, I remember seeing that, and I was like, this is fucking stupid. I don't like it. I don't like Johnny Depp's character in this. I don't get the appeal. Yes, all right. If I'm really honest, it's like, okay, yeah, I get the appeal, but I just don't like it.
I liked 2 and 3. Those were my favorites. 2 and 3 were just kind of like one long story.
3 was when I had to bail out. I was like, no, I can't do this anymore. I was so bored by that endless purgatory shit. Captain Jack Sparrow on the beach, and I wasn't laughing. I don't know, maybe I'm
was artistic. Gore Verbinski giving you a look into the mind of a solitary individual consumed by his own hedonism and madness.
No, man. It was just too long. You know, that's a problem with, I think, a lot of these blockbuster films these days, is they just want them to be so epic. And part of being an epic movie is to be just really long. It doesn't have to be long. Not always. Condense it a little bit and it would just be better. Sometimes it needs to be long, but not always. It seems like they just feel compelled to make these 2.5 hour masterpiece epics.
And Pirates 3 I liked, but the fourth one, Pirates of the Caribbean 4, was the most boring movie I've ever seen. And I remember I saw Pirates 4 and The Lone Ranger very close to one another. And those two movies, Pirates 4 and The Lone Ranger, they just take forever. They're so long and they're so boring. I think after that, I just said, no, I'm done with blockbuster movies. I'm only going to watch TV shows from now on. These movies suck.
So I never saw Pirates 4, but I did see The Lone Ranger in theater. I think it was just the only option that was viable for both me and my mom at the time. So I was like, okay, you know, I'll go with mom to the theater and watch The Lone Ranger. Man, that was a grind to get through that thing. And
more Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp goofiness. I'm so done with Johnny Depp goofiness, whether it's that character in Lone Ranger or Jack Sparrow
or the Mad
or
Hatter,
the fucking Tim Burton shit, the Alice in Wonderland. No, Johnny, I like it when you're serious and gritty and hardcore. You know, you've been in a lot of good movies, but the ratio of good to bad it's getting worse over the years, man. You need to be more selective, and it's time to be serious about your art here. Like,
but wait, the
on.
thing is, that's the opposite is going to happen, because you may not have read this, but Johnny Depp is like deep in debt and bankrupt.
How?
I read the article. He bought like 14 homes, 14 different mansions.
Well, sell 13 mansions and you're not in debt anymore. You might lose a lot of money, but at least you're not in debt.
I mean, he is like his two financial advisors had to stage an intervention to tell him that he has to stop spending money. I mean, it's same with like Leonardo DiCaprio and Nicolas Cage. They would just and art. He would buy art. You know, he's one of those stars that, like Nicolas Cage, they have to keep making shitty movies because they just have this knack for spending these huge amounts of money. Like they'll hear that a dinosaur skull is up for auction and it's $4 million, and they're just like, great, I'll have that. Give me the dinosaur skull.
Yeah, I'm worth, $100 million. A $4 million dinosaur skull is no big deal to me. Yeah, sure, I want that. I can think of a great place to put a dinosaur skull.
But it all adds up, and Johnny Depp somehow, I mean, he's probably earned $400 million in his life, but it's all gone. And so he's going to be on the phone now to the studio heads saying, hey, this is Johnny Depp. Well, when is Pirate 6 going to be in production?
No.
What about a third Alice movie? What do you mean the second one bombed? Fuck you. I remember it doing well. Maybe. He's got to go get the money now.
He needs to sell a bunch of properties and sell some art, and then he can live a lifestyle that almost everyone on the planet can only dream of. He still has that potential. I mean, it's just his money's tied up in all that nonsense.
And it's kind of weird that we're talking about this, because when we were younger, when we were growing up, Johnny Depp was the epitome of what an independent-minded actor could do. He would only pick quality projects.
Mm.
I'm almost having a hard time remembering the good Johnny Depp movies, like Edward Scissorhands.
All right, you know what? I'm going to just pull up real quick his filmography. I
Okay.
think it would be fun to take a look at this.
Oh yeah.
Bear with me,
Let
folks,
Google
while I
be our guide.
Google Mr. Depp's filmography.
He was a young star. He was in 21 Jump Street, the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie. But then he stole everyone's hearts with Edward Scissorhands. And oh, what else was there?
Well, Nightmare on Elm Street, that's a classic.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. This list we're looking at, is this all Johnny Depp?
Yeah, these are all his actor credits.
Oh, wow.
Platoon, he had a very small role in that, but that, of course, is a masterpiece. Cry Baby, I never saw that, 1990.
Yeah, me neither.
Edward Scissorhands, also 1990. Everyone knows Edward Scissorhands. It's a classic.
Oh, What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
That's another classic.
Ed Wood.
Ed Wood is a classic. Dead Man is a classic.
Donnie Brasco.
Classic. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, classic. Sleepy Hollow, I really liked that movie.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Blow.
Blow, I love that movie.
And
there's some shitty ones in here, a few shitty ones in the early years, like The Ninth Gate. That movie is
Nick of Time.
Yeah, Nick of Time.
But overall, everyone loved Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
he was
From
like,
Hell, no.
He was our generation's James Dean or some shit like that.
Once Upon a Time in Mexico. I mean, that was a pretty cool movie for its time.
Secret Window, not too bad.
Yeah, it was all right. Not great, but certainly worth a watch.
But then as the farther you go on, there's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I was just about to point this out. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, that is a landmark of the decline right there.
Oh, Sweeney Todd was good.
Yeah.
I never saw Public Enemies.
Oh, not good. Yeah.
The Tourist,
that was
crap.
Good. I never saw that. Oh, wait, no, actually, yeah, I did see that. I didn't like it. Rango, I think I saw like half of it. Didn't really pay attention, but I heard it was all right.
Yeah, Rango was pretty good.
Jack and Jill, he's uncredited. He must just be some cameo in that shit.
Oh, man.
21 Jump Street, another cameo that was pretty damn funny. Actually, I liked that movie, 21 Jump Street.
Dark Shadows. Did you ever see the Dark Shadows movie?
No.
That was...
It's just weird, really weird. Or
I saw it, and it is a suck fest on such a magnitude that it was especially painful because, I mean, he's making it with Tim Burton. And when I saw Dark Shadows, he's playing a weird, pale, undead character with black hair, being directed by Tim Burton. And I just flashed back to when I was 12, and like Edward, for about a year or two there, Edward Scissorhands was my favorite movie of all time when I was in like 7th grade. Because, you know, I was like a weird, shy kid, and I just related to Edward so much. I'm just like, yeah, I want to be a goth when I grow up. But I couldn't be a goth because I was fat, and if you're fat, you can't be a goth.
Really?
Yeah, that's a rule.
Huh.
There's no fat goths, no real ones anyway.
I can't remember any fat goths in my experience, but
exactly.
You know,
but
never thought about it that much.
But comparing Edward Scissorhands to Dark Shadows, the gap in quality is so staggering. And I work with these older people. I have this coworker. He's this older man. He's probably one of the worst people I've ever met in my life. And he's a huge fan of the original Dark Shadows. And even he, the stupidest human being on the planet, knows that the Dark Shadows movie was shit. He'll sit there and say, yeah, Dark Shadows, that was a good show. It had horror and suspense and drama all wrapped into one. I saw that new movie, that Johnny Depp shit. They messed up on that one. God damn it, shit.
Then we got 2015 Black Mass, and when I saw that, I was thinking, yes, okay.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Johnny Depp is returning to making good movies. Maybe this marks a new beginning for him. Then Yoga Hosers. I did not see that. Does he have a big role in that? I heard it was absolutely dreadful and like the worst Kevin Smith movie ever, possibly.
Well, Johnny Depp's daughter is like one of the stars.
Oh, okay.
So he probably just shows up.
A smaller role there.
He probably just shows up for one scene.
And that doesn't really count as a Johnny Depp movie.
Nah.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, you know
Does
that
he have a big role in that, or is it another small role? I mean,
it's technically, you know
is
how
it
in
Eddie
the
Redmayne is the star, right?
yeah, in the, you know how in the Harry Potter universe how people can take a magic potion and disguise them as someone and disguise themselves as someone else?
Okay.
He's not in the movie a lot. He kind of just shows up at the end, but he's playing like a character that may become that is going to be fairly important.
So we've got a sequel to that
Yeah,
scheduled for 2018.
in the following 4 or 5 movies of that, he should have a pretty good role. So who knows? Maybe that'll be good.
I still have hope that he's just kind of in a weird midlife funk, and he's going to emerge from this wiser and be starring in a lot more quality films. That's my hope. If he can jettison Tim Burton, that's his best chance, because those two, they've run their course. I don't see them possibly, but they just got to get Johnny away from this character, that weird. How would you describe his mannerisms in
Fey, Fey.
Yeah.
He's very fey.
Enough with that.
He should
done.
play more gangsters and killers and psychopathic drug users.
But even that could get tired. Yes, I agree. He should play some more gritty roles and less of this kind of prancing character.
I bet somewhere some studio head is just really pissed off that Tonto didn't become an iconic character like Jack Sparrow.
But how could that character have become iconic? It's so strange and silent and
Nah, kids will love this. He just walks around not giving a fuck, and he just walks off a cliff, and then like a branch catches him, and he just doesn't care. He's like suicidal. It's great. Kids will love it.
No. What is this? Labyrinth?
Labyrinth?
Yeah, Labyrinth, but they've capitalized L and A. I guess it's the murders of Tupac Shakur, Notorious B.I.G., Spark, and Investigation.
What the fuck?
Labyrinth.
For a second, I thought that was the Labyrinth remake, and Johnny Depp was going to be Jareth.
Are they making a Labyrinth remake?
Supposedly they are.
I don't think they should.
They
I
shouldn't.
think that movie is a classic, and no one can do what David Bowie did. And
Damn right.
Also, the puppetry. No, I don't want CG. Like, that's just a bad idea.
I love David Bowie. David Bowie is one of my favorite artists, and I listen to all his record albums.
The Invisible Man. They're doing another Invisible Man movie here.
Yeah, that's part of the Dark Universe.
Is it going to be all hardcore and?
It'll be like The Mummy, only slightly better. I won't lie, I do kind of want to see The Mummy still. Probably not in the theater, but I'm going to see it one day, damn it.
You make some questionable decisions.
I told you, man, I've been fapping to mummies ever since the Daft Punk video.
All right, I think we're going to end it on that for now.
Fapping to mummies, fapping to mummies.
All right.
Bandage porn.
Bandage. Is that a real thing?
It must be, probably.
Yeah, if you can think of it, it is a real thing.
Are we still recording?
We're still recording.
Oh, shit, yeah. Anywho, yeah, I think if you're still listening to this, then I admire your fortitude.
Oh, I know.
There's still let's see, what is today? What is today, Monday?
Well, technically it just became Tuesday.
Okay, but we still got Tuesday and Wednesday, and then probably Thursday too?
No.
So,
I got to fly out early
okay.
on Thursday.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's cool. So we still got 2 more days, so we might record some more shit. And probably after we go see possibly maybe Wonder Woman tomorrow. I'm rooting for Wonder Woman or The Mummy. They're both fappable.
I'm down with Wonder Woman. Maybe with the right, chemical assistance, I could enjoy The Mummy, but otherwise, no, man, it's got to be Wonder Woman.
I don't know what people have against Tom Cruise. He's one of our brightest stars.
I don't have anything I don't have anything against Tom Cruise as an actor. I've enjoyed him in a ton of movies over the years. I think he's one of the most consistent actors out there. The fact that I think he's just a complete fucking nut job weirdo in real life doesn't interfere with my ability to enjoy him in the movies. But it's not Tom Cruise. It's just that movie looks like shit.
Mommy, but she's so hot.
Yeah, she's hot. So what?
I don't know.
So what? Does that you
I
want to
mean-
subject yourself to some piece of shit maybe just because the mummy's kind of hot?
I've seen so many bad movies just because there's like a weird hot female character in it. Don't judge me.
I'm judging you.
Okay.